Yes, it's wonderful to be here with all of you today. And this weekend when we were in classes, we had a powerful moment where we were reminded that March 8th was International Women's Day. And I was drawn to the work of two very well-known in some quarters poets, women poets. The first is Mara de la Sur. She was best known in the 1930s and 40s for her work on labor rights, particularly the rights of working women. And this poem is called Communal Global Day. Let us seek each other in the villages of the earth, in the root dark where we live in the dust. Find us singing in the underground vein, the germinal seed, in the returning sun, and bring our goodness to enormous, fertile, and perpetual harvest, toward zeniths of noon, toward total expansion and crops of brotherhood and sisterhood. Let us await each other in the village field in the new year, risen in ancestral dust from the furrow, from the loom of the people where, amid lamentations, we have loomed our life in pollen, where the leaves forgive the root, and our children rise in perpetual sunrise. In immense globular light, we await each other. The light returns on no enemy faces, but upon the communal chorus, roused in villages of the earth to cry salute and sing, shout in choruses of millions, rising towards communications, towards extremities of naders, of total expansions in the entire solar light, on all flesh, on all fields and all villages, roused from sleep, rouse us. Let us seek each other and move from the violent, the broken, the predatory, to the enormous and myriad fertile and impregnated harvest, the global village. We sing with you in choruses of millions. And then I just have one other shorter one by the poet Nikki Giovanni. She called this Sanity to be Continued, for preparing leaders for a world community. And it goes simply, know the truth when you hear it. Know beauty when you see it. Understand love when you feel it. And as you dance, always dance on that floor, polished by the best of you. Thank you.
I want to ask you a question, and this is whether you're virtual or whether you're in the room. Why are you here? What is it that's drawn you to this place? Is it that the hospitality is good and the coffee is even better? Is it that the welcome is exceptional? It is, but is that what drew you here? Or is it that you are on a voyage of discovery? You see, we are born wanting. We're born with this desire to know, to understand, to seek knowledge. And we each find our pathway through that. And some will find that in different ways. But those, as the song said, who are willing to step out of perhaps what other people think as the norm, what other people almost force upon us, that is the view which is correct. To step out of that, to have this ability to look at information. And the information that we look at is, does life continue? I'll be quite honest, when I started on this journey, I thought, no way. I didn't believe any of it. I was a total skeptic. And I went through perhaps the same journey as everybody does. seeking more, trying to understand more. And then someday there is one piece of information that you see. Whether that information is within a given message from those loved ones, or whether it's part of the philosophy, it's just something that stops you in your tracks. We then have a choice. Because like all knowledge, we can read book after book after book, millions of subjects. And sometimes we read books and have information that just goes into the mind. What purpose is it? What do you gain from that if you just have knowledge but don't bring it into fruition? It took me a few years to understand truly what the knowledge that the continuance of life would mean, to make it vital, to make it important, to make it really change life. For those couple of years, it was just perhaps an entertainment that I would go to the local church and I might get a message. How wonderful that was. But, you know, I get on with my life, very busy life, running a hotel. And it was just something I enjoyed doing. And then one day, the penny dropped. Do you know when you put your penny in the arcade machine and the lights all come on? It was a moment like that. When I realized that this truth, this one single fact, and it is only one single piece of knowledge, was actually key to my life. Because in that moment, I discovered that if life continues, if I continue, then there's more to it. I began to look at myself differently. Because, hey, I was the fat child at school. I hated what I looked like. I was too tall. I couldn't get clothes to fit. So I stood out. I was different. And I hated myself. When this penny dropped, that really, do you know, that doesn't matter. How we present ourselves doesn't matter. It's recognition that there is more importance to something else. More importance to that which can continue. And I was pleased to know that this form doesn't continue. It's the essence. It's the essence of me that is important. Because having accepted that life continued, you start to look at what part of life continues. We talk of spirit. What is spirit? It's the essence. It's that which is important of you. Whether your shoes match with your trousers or whether your hair is perfect doesn't matter. Whether you understand that spirit within does. Once we come to that reality, we start to project that thought. So if I'm starting to look at myself differently, if I'm starting to look at my life differently, surely then I start to look at others differently. Instead of the differences that we have each day with people we meet, we start to see that commonality. We start to see that if the spirit within is the important part, everyone has that. Everyone has that common essence. And although we may take different pathways, we may have different lifestyles, we have different choices, different desires, different dreams. We are that spirit within. seeking knowledge, seeking purpose, and seeking a pathway through this often trying physical existence. And once you can put that into place, it starts to give purpose. It starts to give purpose to the lessons we learn, the trials that we face, the triumphs we gain, and the losses we suffer. It starts to give a meaning to this very life itself. Then it is vital. Then that one fact is actually a vital living part of us. We start to look at the world differently. You know, the problem I had when I began this journey, I looked at this life as the permanence. That I was born here, that I will die here. The days in between are all that mattered. Now I think differently. Because having accepted the fact that I came from a spiritual realm, and I will return home to that spiritual realm, it means that instead of being permanent, this physical life is just a temporary stop. And you start to think, well, why am I here? Why am I here in this temporary state? There must be something or some reason for it. Here we go again. We're starting to get purpose. Once asked in our circle what the purpose of life was, the answer was very quickly given. And that was simply experience. That the trials we have each day are just for our experience. The joys we have are just experience. That we will return home more than we came. We were given the assurance that we will never be less than the experience that we've learned. So nothing is taken away, but we will never be more. You know, that makes every single moment of this life important. Some will be more important than others. Days will be monumental, but other days, well, less so. When that day comes, when I've done my journey, I've learnt my lot, I'm hoping that on that day, I will have fulfilled that experiential purpose. I won't know until that day. And when asked how we can live up to the promise of Spirit, the gentleman that works with me said, live each day to the full. He didn't say live each day perfectly. He didn't say we had to be saints. He said, live each day to the full. And that way you will fulfill every moment. When I got involved in the movement first, somebody said to me, be careful. Not everybody in the spiritualist movement is spiritual. I didn't know what that meant. I've got to say, I've met some beautiful people. I've met some friends who walk the pathway with me. And I've also met some very spiritual people. It's changed my view of what spiritual is. Because coming from the Christian background, spiritual to me was being holier than thou, being absolutely perfect every moment we live, not ever going wrong, not ever losing the track. I now know differently. Being spiritual is living life according to the knowledge that spirit exists. Whatever that brings you to, and whatever changes that makes, that is the path of being spiritual. So I'm going to leave you with those thoughts and hope that in the days, weeks, months, years to come, you will find that great comfort that I have found on this pathway. Many of you will probably find it easier than I did. Many of you perhaps started searching before me. But ultimately, it doesn't matter when that light comes on, when the coin drops, because that is when your knowledge becomes wisdom. I leave you with that thought. Thank you for listening.